Hello, it's Reija and welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey from gingerreadslainey and is currently hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I will leave all the important links down in the description, so please be sure to check them out. But without further ado, let's get over today's topic, which is our favorite monsters. First up on my list are the homunculi from Fullmetal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa. Now, these monsters are not necessarily the super scariest, but they are cunning, they are manipulative, and they kind of work behind the scenes, and you don't really know what their end game is before it's almost too late. And I love their core dynamic, the way they play off of each other, the way there's kind of this family dynamic between them, but also a sort of distance, because they're not like fully human, they're like these distilled emotional parts. And I kind of love that. Envy is my absolute favorite, because I sort of like that he has this transformative quality about him, and that also plays into his design, which is very kind of gender bending and not fully feminine or masculine. He kind of plays the whole gambit, and that I think is kind of marvelous when you take into consideration that his whole shtick is to transform into anything and anyone. And I love that. I also love Greed. He's very like charismatic and sort of kind of very ultra masculine sort of. So those are my two favorites of the homunculi, and I just love that whole group dynamic that they have going on between them, and I like how they sort of aid the heroes when it's beneficial to them, but their end game is very much at odds with the hero's journey. Next up on my list are the Korsai from the Monsters of Verity duology by Victoria Schwab. And to be completely honest, even though I like the whole dynamic, how the monsters are born, and the Malkai and the Sunai can be fun, I actually think the Korsai are the most scary, because they don't have like reasoning ability. They are pure id. They are pure desire. They are pure desire for like violence, and they just want to feed. And I think that makes them very scary and interesting to me. And I also really like how they're these shadowy monsters and you don't really see them coming, but you kind of hear these critters in the dark, and you can kind of feel the impending dread when they are getting near and they are going to eat you. And I really love them. One of my favorite scenes in this Savage song is the one where August and Kate are trapped in a subway car, and all these Korsai are swarming them outside, and that's one of my favorite scenes. I really like the Korsai. And next up, I could not have a list of my favorite monsters without mentioning the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. As with the Korsai, I think the best part about the Nazgul is that there are this impending doom, this impending feeling of dread that someone is following you, someone is chasing you. We don't actually get to see the Nazgul too many times in Lord of the Rings, but there's always this presence, there's always this feeling that they're there, they're hunting you, they're hunting Frodo, and I think that makes them really scary. I also like how they were portrayed in the movies, that whole 50 meters of fabric per writer was insane, and I just really like how you can't really tell their features. They're just these kind of ghostly figures. And yeah, the Nazgul are my favorite monsters in Lord of the Rings. And there are plenty of monsters to go around in Lord of the Rings. But those kind of vague figures with resolute aims of killing you without you really knowing why. I just love that sort of id versus ego and versus reason sort of thing. I'm more drawn towards those kind of monsters that are pure desire to do something and that there is no reasoning with them. I think those kinds of monsters are the most scary ones. And on a similar vein, I want to talk about the silicon creatures in Blame by Tsutomu Nihei. These are killing machines that don't really have any other aim than to stop Kili from getting what he wants. Kili wants to find people who can control machines. This is a lost art that not many people have this ability, and it would mean an end to the machine kind if such a human would be found. And these silicon creatures are, in my opinion, kind of like zombies. They don't have any reason, they just follow their programming, and their programming is to kill any living creature that's not a silicon creature. So basically any biological being. And I really like the way they are designed. They have this very uncanny valley, sort of resemblance to humans, but also very sort of distanced from them. So there's something familiar, but also something really unfamiliar and sort of unforgiving and intimidating about them. And also the way the story is told in Blame with very little dialogue, and you just start seeing these creatures creeping up to Kili and trying to kill him. It's really scary because it's all done in like silence. There's like echoes and sound effects obviously in the comic, but there's no dialogue, no punchlines, no kind of smart ass retorts. It's all so efficient. It's really creepy and scary, and I love them. And last up on my list are the God Hand from Berserk. And the reason the God Hand are on my number one spot are because they are pretty much the kings, the gods of demonkind. They make the world go round, and they anoint apostles and raise demons up and put them down. And they are just the crux of all the evil in the universe in Berserk. And especially since they are responsible for one of the most horrendous acts of violence and trauma to our heroes, is what makes them the more intimidating and most scary. Because sometimes when you have these monsters who are kind of removed from the heroes fight against them, but there's no personal stakes. I don't think they are as effective. But the God Hand are really personally involved in the hero's struggle in Berserk. And that's what makes me want to root for Guts to, first of all, get to destroy them and get to destroy their evil. But at the same time, I want to know more about the God Hand. I want to know what makes them tick. And I want to know how they came to be. So, yeah, that's my list. Those are all my favorite monsters. Tell me in the comments what are some of your favorite monsters in any fiction. I focused on books and graphic novels today, but there are many amazing monsters in all of media, so please be sure to share with me your favorites. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye!